The Musk versus OpenAI trial just entered its second week, and the stakes could not be higher. After Elon Musk delivered high-profile testimony last week, testimony that was equal parts bombshell and spectacle, the courtroom this week shifted focus. One of OpenAI's original co-founders took the stand Monday, and what they said has the potential to fundamentally reshape how the public understands what OpenAI actually is, what it was always meant to be, and whether the company betrayed its founding mission the moment it started chasing billions. Let that sink in for a second. This is not a trademark dispute. This is not a contract squabble. This is a lawsuit that goes directly to the question of whether one of the most powerful AI companies on the planet was built on a broken promise, a promise made to the public, to investors, and to the researchers who believed they were building AI for humanity, not for shareholders. Musk's legal team is arguing that OpenAI's pivot from nonprofit to cap-profit structure was a violation of the original charter. OpenAI says that pivot was necessary for survival. The co-founder testimony this week is critical because it fills in the gaps that Musk's testimony left wide open. What was actually said in those early rooms? What did the founders agree to? And what happened when the money started flowing? The answers to those questions will determine whether this trial ends as a historic accountability moment for the AI industry, or whether OpenAI walks away with its current structure validated by a court of law. Either outcome reshapes the entire landscape. If Musk wins, every major AI lab will be forced to re-examine its governance model under a legal microscope. If OpenAI wins, it signals that the transformation from mission-driven nonprofit to commercial powerhouse is legally bulletproof. The AI industry is watching this courtroom more closely than it is watching any product launch this month. And you should be too. Most people were locked onto the courtroom drama this week, and that is exactly the kind of distraction that lets something genuinely alarming slip right past you. Anthropic quietly dropped information about something called Mythos AI, and the cybersecurity community had a moment of collective alarm that barely registered in mainstream tech coverage. Here is why that matters more than the headlines suggested. Mythos AI is not a product Anthropic is selling. It is a threat model. A category of AI-enabled cybersecurity risk that Anthropic's researchers identified and decided the world needed to know about. The announcement landed in a Yahoo Tech report and immediately sparked debate about whether Anthropic was being responsible by surfacing this or irresponsible by potentially providing a roadmap. That tension is real, and it is worth sitting with. What exactly is Mythos AI? According to the reporting, it represents a class of AI system capable of generating highly convincing disinformation at scale, not just fake text, but coherent, contextually grounded narratives that can pass scrutiny in ways that previous AI-generated content could not. The name itself is telling. Mythos, as in mythology, as in stories so well-constructed they become believed as truth. Anthropic's researchers are essentially warning that we are approaching a threshold where the cost of manufacturing a believable false reality drops close to zero. Now here is the part that most coverage glossed over. The Yahoo Tech analysis noted that while Mythos represents a genuine and escalating threat, it does not, quote, rewrite the rules of the game. That framing is doing a lot of work. On one level, it is reassuring existing cybersecurity frameworks can theoretically adapt. On another level, it is deeply unsettling, because it implies we have already normalized a game where AI-generated disinformation is simply one more variable to manage rather than an existential challenge to how we collectively understand reality. Anthropic deserves credit for surfacing this publicly. Most AI labs bury threat research in internal safety reports that never see daylight, but the timing is notable. Anthropic is also, separately this week, generating buzz around a potential IPO. Early investors are circling. Amazon committed up to $4 billion back in 2023, and now those bets are looking very, very interesting. When a company is preparing for a public offering, transparency on safety research can serve dual purposes, genuine responsibility, and a very clean narrative for investors about how seriously the company takes risk. That is not a cynical reading. It is just an honest one. The Mythos disclosure is important, but understanding the full context of why it landed this week and who benefits from the story being told this way is equally important. Let us talk about money, power, and the moment Silicon Valley's global playbook started falling apart. A Yahoo Finance piece this week made the argument plainly: AI is breaking the model that built the tech industry. For decades, the formula was simple: build something great, scale globally, worry about politics later. That formula is dead. AI companies now need a political strategy on day one, not as an afterthought. The piece argues that geopolitics is beginning to shape which AI tools people can even access in the future, not product quality, not price, not user experience. Borders, regulations, national security designations. The companies that understand this are pulling ahead. The ones still operating on the old Silicon Valley OpenScale playbook are walking into walls they cannot see yet. Meanwhile, Parallel Web Systems, the AI startup launched by Twitter's former CEO Jack Dorsey, just closed a $100 million funding round focused entirely on agentic AI. That is not a small number for a company most people had not heard of 18 months ago. Agentic AI, for anyone just catching up, refers to AI systems that do not just respond to prompts, but autonomously pursue goals across multiple steps and tools. Think less chatbot, more autonomous employee. The $100 million bet on this space signals that serious money believes agentic AI is the next major commercial wave, and Dorsey's team is positioning to ride it. Bloomberg made its own power move this week. The financial data giant, which sits on arguably the most valuable proprietary financial dataset in the world, unveiled a new AI agent built in collaboration with Anthropic's Claude. The way Bloomberg built it holds lessons for every enterprise AI deployment happening right now. They did not just bolt Claude onto their existing infrastructure. They trained it on decades of structured financial data, news, and market behavior that no public model has ever touched. The result is an AI agent that can reason about financial markets in ways that general-purpose models simply cannot replicate. That gap between generic AI and domain-trained AI is where the next decade of enterprise value gets created. And Bloomberg just showed everyone what winning looks like. The broader picture emerging from all of this is a reshuffling. The labs building the foundational models, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, are fighting for survival and dominance at the infrastructure layer. But the real commercial value is increasingly being captured by companies like Bloomberg that take those models and fuse them with irreplaceable proprietary data. The platform wars of the last decade are being replaced by the data moat wars of this one. This week's tool is Tamber, a Lowe's Angels-based AI music tool that just raised $5 million backed by Adobe Ventures, and it is about to change how independent creators build soundtracks, score content, and produce original music without needing a studio budget. Here is the one-sentence pitch. Tamber uses AI to generate fully original, production-ready music tracks tailored to the mood, pace, and style you specify, in minutes, not months. Here is the concrete use case that makes this worth your attention right now. Imagine you are a YouTube creator, a podcast producer, or a short film director. You need 10 different pieces of background music, intro energy, mid-video build, emotional close, ad transition, tension cue. Licensing that professionally costs thousands of dollars and weeks of back and forth. With Tamber, you describe what you need in plain language, the AI generates tracks that fit your specs, and you walk away with original music you actually own. No copyright flags, no licensing fees chasing you down months later. No creative compromise because the stock library only had something close to what you needed. The Adobe Ventures backing here is significant. It signals that this is not a toy product. Adobe does not write checks to music startups that cannot scale. They write checks to tools they plan to integrate into the creative ecosystem that millions of professionals already live inside. Getting in on Tamber now, before that integration happens and the pricing shifts, is the kind of early mover advantage that actually matters. The product launch is imminent following the funding close, so the window to get in at ground level is measured in weeks, not months. Go find Tamber, get on the early access list, and start testing it on your next project before everyone else figures out it exists. If you thought this was wild, you need to see what Anthropic dropped last week. The video is on your screen right now.